He told me then we got you.
He's gonna bend the knees, huh?
Yeah, we sure do. I need water. No, I'm good. Need water.
All right, how you doing?
Dr. Will, everyone. At this time, we'll call the Wellness Board of Education special call meeting to order 5:32. At this time, let's conclude the agenda. Let's conclude the
I'll make a
agenda.
motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Motion by Ms. Harrison, second by Ms. Hale. That the agenda is approved. Are there any questions? All opposed? All in favor? All opposed? Motion passed. Okay, the first topic is construction management at risk recommendation. Turn it over to Dr. Simonton at this time.
Another exciting day in the life of Logan City Schools as you reach another milestone, and that is the opportunity to select a recommend for this company. You have in your folders the executive summary from the company that the team is recommending. So you have in out looks like this in black and white. Qualification for construction manager at risk services, Logan City Schools, submitted to Mr. Ron Hunter, who's joining us today. It's from Platinum Bees, which is a company out of Raleigh. And what we have provided for you is the executive summary. I'm I'm gonna go very high level. Additional questions. Mr. Bernard Hall is doing this Zoom. And just so you know, Mr. Hall had surgery over the holidays, and he was kind enough to join us, as well as we realize that one has a lot of experience in this area, really able to support us. So very quickly, in the executive summary, you see an overview of the company, Plants and Trees. They've been in business a long time, 74 years. They're in Raleigh. They've done a lot of work in this. We're one of the largest companies in the country that do this kind of work. In the left hand column on the first page, you see some of their approach. They describe their approach to the scene like this. And that includes looking at design decisions, a lot of analysis of costs, looking at ways to help the district maintain cost-effective measures. There's a lot of coordinating activities in-house. They have a lot of processes and procedures that they have done over and over. On the right column, they speak specifically to the things that they want to do for a well. So that first bullet, you'll see they talk about how they're going to come in here and utilize the existing site as a way to minimize costs, to use some of the existing parking lots and pavement to really sort of stage the next part. So first, they demolish the building, but as much as possible, they use existing pavement and asphalt parking lots as a staging area for construction. As you can imagine, there are going to be a lot of construction vehicles and a lot of things that are going to be happening on county road. So it's really important for you to do that. The second bullet I think is helpful for you to think about is they recognize how important the existing school is to the community. So they're talking about what they can do to save or salvage some of the materials to be included in the design. So to the extent that you are interested in using some of those materials, they are prepared to incorporate that moving forward. I'll move down to the 1, 2, 3, 5th bullet. The 5th bullet has to do with athletic fields and exterior facilities, and recognizing how important athletics are to high schools and to communities. We want to make sure that we work to those fields get done so that a year in advance, those fields are game ready. So you just can't get a football field within 3 months. So they know that, they've done this work, and they realize that as soon as they're able to, they're going to. Any questions about that first page? I'll move to the second page. So here, this company that we're recommending talks about what they do and how they do it. And these are some of the strengths and special qualifications, very industry specific. I can read those words. Can I tell you exactly what they do? They do it. Yes. So they talk about using a lot of technology and systems, 3D modeling, distance planning, visualization of design. And these elements are actually a part of their team, and they're a part of what they do. In this bid, not in this bid, in this project, there are 3 phases. There's pre-construction, there's construction, and there is the last. I'll find it for you. What's the pre-construction phase? Pre-construction phase is the things that have to happen before you get to build. And they outline 3 elements. A lot of communication. They don't say communication specifically, but the collaboration that has to occur really is about communicating with you, the owners. Mr. Hall, who you hired, the representative, and the construction company. And the second thing is the three elements of pre-construction: collaboration, alignment, and integration. So the third bullet, integration, before they turn the dirt, they want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And I would say, as you read this, what you see is they are very attuned to what the goals of the district are. So yes, you're building a school, but what are the goals of the district? The next page that you have is a list of projects that this company has done since 2017, for the last 6 years. You can see the name of the project, see if it was a construction manager at this project or not, or the value of the projects. And each value project was a 19 million, but there's a 51 million, that was the same area of cost as the 612 school development. They list the architects, and then you know those schools, so there's a West Millwood Middle School, the River Park, Northridge Elementary School, UNC athletic fields, and the Wake Tech Research Triangle Park campus. And one of the things that we wanted to see is who the proposed team is, and that's the last page in that document we have for this company. Bobby Englauer was the executive, who was the project executive who did the presentation for us. Others on the call were William Aaron, John Andrus, Adam Ray, Christian Flores, and you'll see Grant Smith, who's listed as a partner. And he's an NWG partner. One of the things that made this company attractive to us in terms of taking consideration was they're already connection and alignment with this Smith company. So the last page that we have for you is a summary. You have a one page. Summary of the process. So in the fall, before they settled decisions moving to the CMS model, including putting out a request for qualifications, and then the December meeting or the November, December meetings, you approve the CMS risk model. So on December 19th, a group of us held interviews with two companies, Class A and another company that's Conceivably. I'm not going to read that to you, but basically, both companies shared a proposal like this, slightly different, but they shared that with us. Today, either myself, Dr. Carpenter, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Hal Bowen, who's the lead architect for Fisher Architects, and Mr. Bernard Hall. After each interview lasted about 55 minutes, so about an hour. We were asked to rate the companies based on a set of predetermined questions. We were a 1 to 5 rating. And as a result of that process, 4 of the 5 of us chose Clancy and Pease. So that's what we're going to do today. Recommendation that the district pursue a contract with Clancy and Pease for the new 612 school. Other questions for us?
I make a recommendation that we approve, I make a motion to approve Clancy and Pease. Clancy and Thais Construction Company, to be our construction management risk. Thank you.
The motion by Ms. Hale, second by Ms. Harrison. that, we approve the recommended, construction management. Are there any questions?
Yes. Mr. Williams,
Just a minute. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Barry Robinson.
good evening, everyone. Is this person that we're talking about, or company agency, is that in addition to, the buyer seller that we already have that's part of our team?
Bernard Hall?
Bernard Hall, yes.
Yes, so, and I'm glad you asked that. This is Ron, well, by the way. I was gonna talk a little bit just about how the structure of this would work. So Bernard is your owner's rep, which is your person who kind of sits in the shoes of the owner and is solely looking out for your best interest and is your intermediary kind of between the superintendent's office and the board and the contractor and the architect. So that's kind of his role in this process. This would be the company that actually oversees and manages the construction of the building. This is effectively the contractor. It's just that the way that this model works, you enter into a contract with Clancy, with a CM at risk, and then that entity will then go out and actually hire for you 30 or 35 subcontractors or contractors, really kind of prime for them, but contractors to build the building. And then Clancy and Thays will oversee that, manage it, coordinate it, schedule it, all of those things, ensure that the work's done correctly. When it's not done correctly, they'll have they have the contractors tear it down and do it, or whatever the case may be. They'll work closely with your architect during the design, the remaining portion of the design of the building, providing cost estimates to Mr. Bowen and his team, so that as you get closer to being able to construct the building, you'll have some confidence that the final design will fit within the project budget. So they do a lot of stuff both during the design phase of the project, which, as the superintendent described, is pre-construction. Then they will, actually then oversee and manage the construction of the building itself. So I'll stop right there for a second.
Are there any further questions?
I have a question. As far as, and I know you probably don't know, Rod, I don't know who asked this question too, but as far as the money, we were only afforded $50 million. Now, this money that we've already hired, Mr. Hall.
Right.
For our.
Right.
And this additional person, or this additional company that's
Right.
coming in, that money will be taken out of that 50 million, is that correct?
Well, yeah, I can actually definitely speak to that. So let's assume for now that you don't get any additional money. Then the $50 million will be apportioned such that the amount available for for Mr. Hall's services, for the architect services, and for the construction manager at risk will have to all be paid out of that $50 million. So the scope of the project will be sized accordingly, and then the amount available to pay this vendor would be sized down accordingly also. But if you get the additional money, which we anticipate you will, then just all those numbers just go up, but still within that 60 or 62 million, depending on what you'll get, would cover all of these expenses. So we would set aside enough to cover Mr. Hall, set aside enough to cover ratio, set aside enough to cover all your incidental expenses. And then what would be left would be the amount that would build the building and cover this contract.
Maybe I should have asked this question before you made that motion, because you said that if we don't get the money, I mean, we do get the money, but you think we will, but you're not for sure, 100%
We
certain.
won't know until we know.
Exactly. So if we do get the money, their contract for the amount will be increased.
Right.
If we don't, so we start off at a different amount, or, I mean,
Right.
let me understand.
Well, that's a great question. So the way this will, okay, so there are two primary components to this contract. The first component is what they call pre-construction services. And for a project in this range, let's say you have $60 million, right? You know, the part that's available to cover the actual cost of the new school, not the architect and not the other stuff, is, let's just say that you get the extra money, let's call it $53 million, right? That'd be $53-ish million available to build the building. And I don't know, I haven't looked at Mr. Bowen's latest budget, but let's say it'll be like 53, 54 million.
Excuse me. Ms. Dunn, could you open it?
You know, it'd be $53, $54 million, you know, to build it.
I don't mean to cut you off, but because we have the 50 million,
Right.
that's what I would just like to stay within
Okay.
until we get
Okay.
the additional money.
Okay, all
Because
right,
we can't count our eggs before, I mean, can't count our
Fair
chicken before our eggs hatch.
all right, fair enough. So let's work with those numbers. So let's say you got 50 million total budget. I'm guessing that the amount for construction is probably 42, 43 is what you're probably showing for the actual cost of the building itself. Then that 42 or 43, whatever that number is, that number would encompass all of this expense. So the most you would pay Clancy and Days is that amount of money that you budgeted in your current budget to cover the cost of the building. Okay, so that their contract would kind of be capped at that number. So the contract's kind of got two parts to it. So based on those numbers, you would probably, what you would get in a couple of weeks from now would be a contract value, I'm gonna say 200 and, let's say $200,000. That there would be a contract for pre-construction services that would be for $200,000. So all you would really be committed to paying to Clancy and Days between now and when you have a fully designed building that's within your budget that you're prepared to build is that $200,000. Assuming that everything fits within the budget that you've got available, 50 million today, and you're comfortable with building that, whatever that has been designed for that amount of money, then you would authorize them to kind of proceed with this next phase, which would be to build the building, and then that's when you would be on the hook for the $42 million or the $43 million. But all that you're gonna be on the hook for between now and when you literally start construction is the $200,000 that you will pay them to work with Mr. Bowen's staff on the design of the building and keeping it within budget, getting you cost estimates, getting bids from local bidders, so that when you're ready to say go, you know that you've got contractors out there who are lined up to do the work for that $42 million. So all that you're gonna be on the hook for is a couple $100,000 to get you from now through bidding. And then when you're ready to actually build it, that's a totally separate decision by this board. You would then say go, and then that's when you would be on the hook for the 42-ish million to pay them to actually build the building.
Well, a question that I had some time ago, after we had hired Mr. Hall, when this new construction management at risk position came up.
Yeah.
A question that I had was, because I thought that after we hired Mr. Hall, that would be it with us hiring individuals within this, for this project. Are there any more people that we're gonna have?
There are not any more people you're gonna have to hire. And the roles are totally
So
separate.
I get that, I get
right,
that,
but
and I
there-
know that we'll need this
Right,
person for
Right,
this position
right,
filled.
right. So let me clarify that. There are no more people that you will need to hire to get you through the design phase and to be ready to build the building. You may have to hire, once you start building the building, what they call a commissioning agent. That's somebody to come out and actually do some inspections of of the work as it's being installed. There's certain things that you have to have a commissioning agent for now in North Carolina to make sure it's done correctly. But that's the only other service, well, I'm trying to think how to structure this. And you may have to hire what they call a geotech engineer. But again, that's all kind of once you actually start building the building. And all of those services and the amounts of money to cover those are in that $50 million budget. So Hal's put you a budget together. He set aside cash in your $50 million to cover all of the costs that you're expected to incur to build the building. And for now, you're working with the $50 million. So yeah, they're in that budget, are line items for all of this. So Hal has allocated cash within the 50 to cover each of these.
So how much are we looking to pay this company if they are selected? And how much money is, because I don't know, you all may remember, I don't know, Mr. Hall, I don't know if he ever got his figure.
I haven't, I've seen his contract. He's on the line. I would guess my memory is it's probably, from the other ones I've seen, it's probably $200,000 over the course of the entire project period.
Yeah. What was the question?
There you go. Bernard, how much is your total contract over the course of the 4 years period for this project?
For the entire project, it's just shy of 200,000.
That's what I thought. And that's right in range with what our other clients had hired for similar projects of this size. So yeah, so all of this is in the budget that ratio was put together, so it's all within the 50 million.
So how much would this company get paid?
All right, this company, assuming you build a building, they would probably get paid $42, $3 million.
How much?
42 or 43 million. This is the company that's going to build the building.
Okay.
Right. But all you're agreeing to pay them right now is probably $200,000 to help you to work with Hal between now and getting the final set of design documents, to bid the project, and to get quotes in from all the various 30 or so trades, an electrical, a plumber, a mechanical contractor.
And all they'll be
steel
doing is
erector.
42.
All of that's in that 42 million.
So these are
Everything.
the people right here gonna do the work.
These are the people who are gonna do the work, and
Right.
these are the most important people. Well, Hal's important,
Because he's the architect.
Hal's the architect, and this company, two most important people you're gonna have. And this company does excellent work. That you are able to get them here is a godsend. They do great work for our clients. I don't hesitate to use them at all. As you see on their list, they've done multiple schools, the Wake County schools. I think they listed the Durham Public Schools projects, and they worked with Bernard in Durham on that project. And you may have noticed their largest project over the year is the 156 million for Wake County, and the architect on that is Ratio. So they're, so you've got a good collaboration of an architect and a contractor that really work well together. So I think knock on wood, you've got a really good team between Ratio and Clancy Phase.
My own concern was just going over, I just don't go over.
You're not
Because we
gonna
don't
go,
have that kind of-
Hal understands that you've got limited funds.
Okay.
And again, if you get the additional money, which everybody anticipates you will, then all these numbers will just expand.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, a motion from Ms. Hill, a second by Ms. Harrison. Move ahead with Clancy and Jay, all in favor?
Can I just say one more thing? So 2 weeks from now, at your next meeting, the plan would be to bring you a contract that at a minimum would have a fee in it for the pre-construction services. Because we're not 100% sure what the ultimate budget number is, we may or may not try to negotiate some of the other items, but we'll certainly get the fee for pre-con because we need them to get started sooner than later. And then as we learn more about the full size of the budget of the project, will fill in some of the other unknowns.
Okay.
Northampton is just assuming they're getting their money, so we're negotiating as if they got the 60 or 62 or whatever the number is. But here, we probably not.
I mean, that's just me.
No,
And
but
that
it makes
6 other
sense. So because you only know that you got the 50.
Yeah.
You know, we'll
But I
probably
know I
limit
got
it to that. And again, the most important thing over the next several months is pre-con anyway. That fee we can negotiate, we know how to do that. So we'll probably bring you that at the next meeting, and then once we know more about the scope and we get the additional money, then we can backfill some of the other amounts. But either way, the most you would pay them is the amount that's in your budget.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Clancy and Dave, has been approved as the construction manager.
And I'll try to schedule a call sooner than later with the Clancy people, Bernard, superintendent, or whoever he wants to have on that call to begin these conversations and negotiations, so that theoretically, at their meeting 2 weeks from now, you get through, again, worst case scenario, the pre-con services.
At this time, thank you, Mr. Malone.
Well,
At this time, before we go to the next session, superintendent secretary, need a motion to go into closed session.
Make a motion that we go into closed session to consider confidential personality matters as provided in NCGS 143.318.11A6 and 115C321.
Second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, second by Ms. Fair, that we now go into closed session. Are there any questions? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We're now in closed